Hello, everyone, and welcome to the quarterfinals of the StarCityGames.com Dallas Open weekend. Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan here in the booth as we prepare for our quarterfinal match here between Mickey Humphries, Jose Rios, and Jose Rios against Kevin King, Jonathan Rosum, and Julian John. For our legacy match, it'll be Mardu Death and Taxes against Lands. Kevin King with one heck of a performance here yet again in a team open here on the SCG Tour. And our standard match, it'll be Grixis Control against Mardu Vehicles. And then as you see Jonathan Rosum shake the hand of Jose Rios, middle Jose Rios playing Scapeshift against Jonathan Rosum playing Humans. We are underway here in our quarterfinal match as Jose Rios will start things off with a Cinderglade for Jonathan Rosum. It's unclaimed territory and an Ether Vial. It looks like middle seat Jose Rios is on a mulligan to 5, unfortunately for him.
Swing card for him in this matchup, definitely 2 main deck copies of Sweltering Suns.
That'll work. Sometimes you see Anger of the Gods, sometimes you see Sweltering Suns. Sweltering Suns, pretty nice because of cycling, obviously.
Right. The deck really doesn't need to exile necessarily because it's just trying to buy itself some time. And so even though cycling 3 is a little bit cumbersome, having that option in the matchups where Anger of the Gods is not a live card, most builds of Scapeshift I've seen have moved in that direction.
Farseek is going to search up a Stomping Ground. And we'll be moving back over to Rosum here in a moment, who's off to a nice start, of course, with the Vial. It's important for Humans to have a 1-drop in most matchups, but certainly in this one where it is just a race. Now, unfortunately for Jose Rios, our Scapeshift player, looks to be on a mulligan to 5. But Scapeshift can actually kind of overcome that. I mean, it is just a deck that's looking to get lands and cast Scapeshift. So
yeah, does not need a whole lot in the way of resources to necessarily get to 6.
Rosum going to play a freebooter now. We'll take a look at the hand here. You see Primeval Titan, not a card you can take. A Valakut and a Wooded Foothills, and if Jose Rios is able to draw a ramp spell,
we're good to go.
We're good to go up to Primeval Titan. So even though he mulled to 5, still doing totally fine.
Although this hand has a lot of trouble beating a Meddling Mage from this spot. But on 5 cards, Rios has to feel okay about his position.
No ramp spell there for Rios. Rosum is going to Vial in a Noble Hierarch. He'll untap. Vial's going to take up to 2. Three mana here. We could have a Mantis Rider, and we do. This will be an attack here for 4.
Rios also definitely trying to Sweltering Sun from here, too.
Yeah, it certainly looks good now, doesn't it? In the draw step, Rosum is going to play a Kitesail Freebooter. Freebooter is going to see a hand of Primeval Titan and just fetch lands, 2 Wooded Foothills, and a Windswept Heath. So Rosum can write that information down, and he's a smart kid, so I know he will. But he's got to try to get this game over with before Primeval Titan and potentially Scapeshift do show up, if that's at all possible. I think right now in Rosum's hand, he has 2 more copies of Ether Vial, which not great.
Yeah, and Primeval Titan can do a lot of work, just attacking Rosum's battlefield and then 1 attack, and we're done.
So Rosum's going to need a good one here. Meddling Mage is probably the best draw. Phantasmal Image is okay.
I mean, it's pressure, but
copy of Mantis Rider at 6, 7, 8. Well, it makes it so it's 2 attacks, right? Taking a look at the lands right now that Jose Rios has in the battlefield.
He's going to get his Valakut triggers here from the Primeval Titan.
He's got 3 mountains plus a Foothills, which will be a 4th mountain.
And then he makes his land drop, that's 5.
That's 5, and then he'll get some triggers from Primeval Titan, depending on how he does search. But he should be able to kill Mantis Rider plus Phantasmal Image.
Yep.
Shouldn't be much of a problem.
And then, you know, you need basically 1 turn from there. And even if Rosum is able to find something like a Reflector Mage, Rios could just make land drops and stabilize the board that way. So Rios might be in position to take game 1 here, even off a mulligan to 5.
And there's a Windswept Heath.
Standard Classic players will only be paying out 9 through 32nd place now. Please have a picture ID out.
Maybe searching up a Cinderglade here.
We are giving your prizes to.
Yep.
Thank you.
So he's not quite out of the woods yet because he can only kill 2 things. And, you know, something like Thalia's Lieutenant might be able to finish the game out. But Rios pulling ahead here as Rosum really light on ways to interact with Primeval Titan in his deck.
Now, one of the problems here, as you mentioned, unable to interact with Primeval Titan. And, of course, drawing too many copies of Vial. So there's a Valakut and a Stomping Ground, trigger, take care of Mantis Rider and Phantasmal Image. Rios had a pretty healthy life total here at 6. Reflector Mage is a fine draw, not a great one.
Yeah, I like Rios' setup here instead of going, made some efforts to go get some mountains so he could search for a second Valakut.
Freebooter number 1. Yep, it's fine because of Exalted. So 2 damage is going to come across. Rios is going to fall down to 4, and if you're letting a Primeval Titan back.
Oh no, and there's a third Valakut.
Yeah, if you're letting a deck like this gets on tap with Primeval Titan, we might be all done. Yep, there's a Wooded Foothills. Here comes Primeval Titan. There's a trigger.
So these 2 lands, along with the Valakuts, will kill everything. Rios can leave himself with a Wooded Foothills up to be able to activate the Valakuts at instant speed, clear out any haste threat, and I don't know if Rosum can come back from this.
There'll be 3 triggers from Valakuts. Give them the mountain that just entered the battlefield. We'll see where those triggers are going to go. I imagine all the creatures, but it's really dealer's choice here. As well, Escape Shift says, well, we are more than dead. As Jose Rios is going to win game number 1 here over Jonathan Rosum. It's a mulligan to 5, and it does not matter. Escape Shift very quickly up a game here over Humans. Rosum's going to have to go to the drawing board. I'm sure Jose Rios will as well. And as those players do prepare to go to their sideboards, we'll 1, check on other matches to see if there's an update, and 2, hear a couple messages from our sponsors.
Go. Go.
We are back, getting ready to watch Jose Rios do battle against Jonathan Rosum, Escape Shift versus Humans. Rosum going to be on the play here for game number 2. So we see 3 Sin Collectors, 2 Grab Trigger Cage, 2 Dismember, 2 is his Staticaster, 2 Mirror Crusaders, 2 Vithian Renegades, a Kessig Malcontents, and a Zathrid Necromancer.
The Sin Collector is the best thing he's got on the board here. Is a little bit of disruption. I could see Zathrid Necromancer coming in against the Sweepers and Kessig Malcontents to make his deck a bit faster.
We go to the Jose Rios side with 3 Relic Progenitors, 2 Obstinate Baylaw, 2 Beasts Within, 2 Chameleon Colossus, 2 Anger of the Gods. Those would be nice in this matchup, along with an EE, an Ancient Grudge, Nature's Claim, and a Reclamation Sage.
Yeah, the Engineer Explosives and the 2 copy of Anger of the Gods. Rosum's deck can go big enough and wide enough that I wouldn't mess around with anything like Obstinate Baloth, but the Sweepers, that's the best thing going on.
Quick updates on our scoreboard. Let's take a look. Martyr, Death, and Taxes in the hands of Mickey Humphries, up a game over Kevin King and his lands deck. You got Grixis Control in the hands of Jose Rios. Don't confuse him with the other Jose Rios in the match. Is down a game to Julian John playing Marty Vehicles as we turn our attention back here to the second Jose Rios against Jonathan Rosum. Scape Shift Humans getting ready here for game number 2. You have to imagine Rosum thought he was in a good spot when his opponent did mulligan to 5, but the Scape Shift deck, one thing, doesn't need 7 cards to win. Obviously, every deck wants to have 7 cards, but he demonstrated that Primeval Titan sometimes is just enough to get the job done.
Yeah, Rosum doesn't really interact with opposing creatures all that well. Was hoping for a Meddling Mage there to shut out the Primeval Titan, didn't find it. Clock wasn't fast enough, and Primeval Titan cleaned up the leftovers.
Let's get ready to roll here with the Plains and a Ether Vial, which is a pretty good start and a pretty important card for him in this matchup against a deck that has access to 2 Anger of the Gods and 2 Sweltering Suns.
Yes.
Good place to be. Now, one of the things about Rosum's deck is he's going to play a Horizon Canopy and fall down to 19, is his creatures do have the ability in Champion of the Parish and Thalia's Lieutenant to outpace those removal spells.
Right. The issue is that this game is played on a pretty fast timeline, so you know, there's no guarantee he has the luxury of getting that sort of thing set up. But you're right, his deck is capable of going a little bit larger than the 3 damage sweepers can generate.
Thalia's a pretty attractive play on turn 2. It's going to stop Rios from being able to cast something like a Farseek on turn number 2. Not sure if that stopped him this particular game, but on the play, Thalia can be pretty good. It's also going to make Anger of the Gods and Sweltering Suns be plays that have to be made on the 4th turn of the game as opposed to the 3rd. As this is a Thalia's Lieutenant. And this is a Kitesail Freebooter. So a bunch of counters are going to be placed onto things here. You see Rosum shortcutting. I actually kind of like the way that he did this because I think he put the Thalia's Lieutenant trigger on the stack, vialed in the Freebooter to make the Freebooter a little bit larger. Is what he's done here. You see the hand here of 3 Mountains. It looks like an Hour of Promise, a Windswept Heath, and a Primeval Titan. So Rosum knows how his human deck works as he attacks here for 3 with his Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, and he actually even has a copy of Kessig Malcontents in hand. So this game could end very quickly, folks.
This is the start that Rosum wants to have here, with Thalia's and Freebooters breaking up Rios' ability to develop a little bit or defend himself, and then the Lieutenant to really increase the clock.
We'll go back over to Jonathan Rosum now, figuring out if he wants that vial on 2 or 3 as his teammate Kevin King watches along. A little bit of math to do. The thought process here, if you're John, is pretty simple. Let's get this over in 2 turns.
Yep.
Don't want it to take 3. If I can make it take 2, that would be ideal. See if there's a way that I can do that.
And he's also got to concern himself with Sweltering Sun and Anger of the Gods off the top, because he knows Rios has land number 4 to play through the Thalia. So if he, in the course of his game actions, can get at least one of his creatures up to 4 toughness or beyond, he'll definitely want to take a shot at doing that.
Yep, it's math time. Rosum looks like he's going to leave it at 2. Draw a card, Seachrome Coast. It is interesting to watch the humans deck here not have access to one of its 5 color lands, Cavern of Souls, Unclaimed Territory. But Thalia's Lieutenant's going to be, I think, more than good enough to maybe get this one over with.
And I think he's just going to Freebooter Rios in the draw step, so in case he's found one of his sorcery speed sweepers, it's no good.
Here comes Rosum for a whole bunch of damage. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Draw step, you nailed it. And there is Kitesail Freebooter. Put a counter on his Lieutenant, Anger the Gods. You
Perfect.
Can have that. Yep. And we are all done. Jonathan Rosum is going to win game number 2 here over Jose Rios. That's more like it for our humans player, as he's tied things up. But unfortunately for Rosum, or fortunately for the Rios team here with Mickey Humphries, they'll be on the play for game number 3, which is a good place to be for
Definitely.
So while these players do shuffle up here for game number 3, again, we will make sure our scoreboard is accurate. If you do want to know the results of the other matches, by the way, make sure you get on Twitter at SCG Tour. Nick Miller is live updating our other matches. So I know there are 6 other teams. I multiply that. Let me see if I can do that in my head. 6 times 3, that's 18. There's 18 other players that people care about the results for. So at SCG Tour, you'll find those, and you'll find us stepping away as we have a message from our sponsors.
Go.
We are back. Jose Rios, Jonathan Rosum, Scape Shift Humans. Game number 3. Rosum multitasking here, it looks like. Shuffling his deck and helping Julian John, making sure his 60 is a good configuration. I'm loving the look here from Rosum. All right, we're good. Here we go. Nothing better than a team tournament, I tell you. We're going to have another one in Philadelphia next weekend. Matthias Hunt, Ryan Overturf, Nick Miller, and the rest of the gang will be bringing you all that action. Hopefully we'll see you out there in Philly. First time we've been there in a little while. And we'll also have plenty of details about SCGCon while we're there, as Jose Rios and Jonathan Rosum are going to lay out their 7 cards. See if they can find hands they like. As you see our other matches here, Mickey Humphries still up a game right now over Kevin King, and then Julian John up a game over Jose Rios. And this Jose Rios is going to send his hand back while Jonathan Rosum looks like he's going to keep his. Speaking of SCGCon, we'll talk about that real quick, because we are going to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Magic the Gathering in style, June 8th through the 10th at the Berglund Center in Roanoke, Virginia, where, of course, we'll have our Season 1 Invitational, but we're also going to have a bunch of other tournaments there, too, that we think you guys are going to be really into. If you want to cast maybe a Green Sun Zenith or play some Tree of Tales, maybe even cast a Black Lotus, SCGCon's the place to be. We'll have all the details for you next week at the SCG Philly broadcast. Matthias Hunt, Ryan Overturf, Nick Miller, they'll bring you all the details of what's going on in SCGCon. We'll, of course, also have our mini site live as well. All the information, all the news, all the speculation, it'll all be revealed next week
All
at
of
SCG
it?
Philly. All of it.
Okay.
And then some. With any luck, we'll be able to jump over to another match here soon. Again, we didn't think this match would take too long. Pretty straightforward what both decks are doing. Kind of 2 ships passing in the night, as you like to say.
Humans versus mountains.
Pretty much.
Settle it once and for all.
Pretty much. Who wins?
Pricing your event, please have a picture ID ready so that we can confirm we are giving your.
Looks like Jose Rios is happy. Remember, Jose Rios won the first game on a mulligan to 5 very easily, truth be told, off the back of Primeval Titan and Valakut the Molten Pinnacle. There's Basic Forest. I think we might see a search for tomorrow here.
Jose Rios with the onslaught joints.
Are you a fan of those?
I am.
They're old school.
That might have been me at my most competitive, was that block.
There's a search for tomorrow. Oh, you your most competitive, really?
I think so.
Okay. We have an update on the match that's over. Where are you at, Zach Elsick? Sneaking into the top 8 in the 8th seed. Him, along with his teammates Dylan Kirkpatrick and Andrew Solano, they've knocked off our #1 overall seed. Christopher Connett, Ivart Mawin, and Matthew Walker. So Mono Red Sneak Attack, Burn.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And co are moving on.
I'm not saying
to the
that I'm rooting
semis.
for a team or nothing, but I like the sound of that.
Yep. Any excuse to watch more Mono Red Sneak Attack sounds good to me. Champion of the Parish is going to come on through that vial. I think we might see a Thalia Guardian of Thraben here. Actually, let's have it be a Kitesail Freebuddha. It's going to grow the champion. We see a Scape Shift, and a Wooded Foothills. That's where the Scape Shift goes, underneath the Freebooter.
So a slow start here from Rosum as far as his deck goes here. Though can speed up very fast if he's able to find some more humans, maybe 2 next turn through the vial to pair through. Also noteworthy that he is quite vulnerable here to any of the sideboarded sweepers.
Anger of the Gods or Sweltering Sun. It's going to be pretty nice here.
Engineered Explosives would play too.
That's true. So this is a big draw step here for Jose Rios, because Jose Rios' hand is not particularly good at the moment. He has a land and a Scape Shift in hand. That is it. And if you caught a glimpse of Rosum's hand, it looked like there was a Meddling Mage over there, folks. We'll go over to Jose Rios. Big draw. Didn't get a great look at it. There's the Foothills that we knew about. Another copy of Sakura Tribe Elder. That's going to bring up to 6 lands. Rosum, that vial, where's that going to go? All right, predictably up to 2. Let's go back over to Jonathan now. He'll draw a card. Has a copy of Sin Collector in hand. He's going to play a Horizon Canopy, take a damage. And now here is Sin Collector. And that's going to nab that Scape Shift. That Scape Shift's going to be exiled. It's gone forever. Here come the beatdowns. Sakura Tribe Elder is going to block the Champion of the Parish. before damage, of course, Jose Rios will sacrifice that and get a basic mountain out of his deck.
And now Rosum in a pretty commanding position, but still several very good draws off the top of Rios' deck. Anger of the Gods, Sweltering Suns play very well here, and Primeval Titan if Rios chooses to sacrifice a Sakura Tribalder.
Which he elected not to do in the upkeep. He's going to vial in Thalia, but he did not put a counter on his champion, and I think he may have just realized it.
Well, this is extremely bad news if Rios found a sweeper. Find out in a second here.
If he found Anger or Sweltering Suns, this is the nightmare scenario for Rosum, who forgot to put a counter on his champion, the Parish. It looks like he may have gotten away with it. Vial's going to go up to 3. Rosum will draw a card. One of the few sloppy plays we've seen from him this weekend. He'll sacrifice Horizon Canopy, draw, picked up a Cavern of Souls. This is a Noble Hierarch. That's a counter. Here come the clowns. There's a block. Now keep in mind, had he not forgotten that champion would be a 5/5. It's only a 4/4 right now. I'm mentioning that because there is a very real possibility that Champion of the Parish will not be able to attack into a Primeval Titan.
No.
If Jose Rios is able to find one. So this will be interesting to see. It might seem like a small blunder, but it is a blunder nonetheless, and that small blunder could end up being a large one.
Yeah, it hasn't mattered yet because the champion's just been chump blocked 2 turns in a row, and Rios did not draw Anger or Sweltering the last turn, but you are right. If it ends up that he cannot attack through a theoretical Primeval Titan next turn, that might be enough to swing a race. Although he still has the Noble Hierarch, so I suppose with the Exalted Trigger, he can get up there.
It's true. What do we have here? Lightning Bolt.
Oh boy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Now, okay, worth noting, Rosum at 19, not 18.
But with a land, you just take down his board, and you have a bunch of Allocats in play.
Yeah, you can clear everything with a land, yes.
And that's not a hard position to win from Rios' side.
What do we have here? This may be a Sweltering Suns or an Anger of the Gods. It's actually going to be a Search for Tomorrow. So it's going to be a hard cast Search for Tomorrow. That's going to be the land that he's looking for. Okay. That'll be a basic mountain now. Interesting to note, not searching for a basic forest. That Wooded Foothills will have to search for a forest or a Cinderglade now, and that point of damage could matter.
Well, not necessarily. If he's going to cast Scapeshift the following turn, he doesn't have to do anything with the Wooded Foothills.
Well, he only has a single green mana.
Oh. Correct.
Yeah. So that actually could end up mattering. What is this? Oh, Meddling Mage is a huge draw. I think I know what we're naming with that one. Grow the Champion. There's a Cavern of Souls. This is a Thalia.
Just one more point.
Yep. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Could have been an attack for 11 had he not missed that trigger earlier. What did Meddling Mage name? I'm assuming Scapeshift. And it did name Scapeshift, and that is going to do it. So Jonathan Rosum is going to win this match here over Jose Rios. 2-1. Human's going to move on, giving his team a win. And now we're going to see if we can get our eyes on a little legacy action here between Lands and Mardu Death and Taxes, as Kevin King currently down a game. And we haven't really gotten our eye on this Mardu Death and Taxes deck before. So I want to get an idea of what the Mardu is here. Now, of course, Death and Taxes, we know plenty of white cards in this strategy, but I'm also seeing a couple copies of Arid Mesa, some Plateaus, a Scrubland in the mana base. There's a copy of Pia and Kiran Nalar hiding out here. What are my black cards, if I can find some? Fairy Macabre doesn't really count, neither does Surgical Extraction, really. Orzhov Pontiff. Okay. It's interesting.
Just good stuff. Some interaction.
All cards that can be found via Recruiter of the Guard. it appears, as we have our eyes now on this particular game. Take a look at Mickey Humphries' side of the battlefield first. Sumizawa Jite, a Recruiter of the Guard, a Magus of the Moon, a Vial on 3. 3 planes and a Rashadan Port, but that Rashadan Port is currently a mountain thanks to the Magus of the Moon. For Kevin King, I've got a forest, a Caracas, which is a mountain, a Taiga, which is a mountain. A Vial being cast here by Mickey. But also for Kevin, maybe the most important permanent on the battlefield is that Molten Vortex. And maybe the Punishing Fire too, which he is casting to take care of the Magus of the Moon, maybe to turn on his lands again. Tireless Tracker, Exploration, and a Dark Depths with 10 ice counters on it is the battlefield we've walked into here. Again, Mickey Humphries currently up a game with his Mardu Death and Taxes deck. Normally just see this deck straightforward with a whole lot of planes, but he's made some adaptations. Crop Rotation here from Kevin King. Means it might be time to go get a Thespian stage.
Crop Rotation Tireless Tracker is
ever heard of it?
Combo.
Never heard of it. You like that, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. Maybe it's 2020 time. I think Mickey Humphries might be out of cards mostly in hand right now. You don't even see a Caracas over there on Humphries' side of the battlefield. He does still play 3, even though his deck has a lot of colors in it. We're going to head over to Mickey. Mickey's going to put a counter on that new Vial he just played. Going to leave the other one at 3. He'll draw a card. Didn't get a great look at it, but it looks like that's the only card he's working with here. He's going to check his sideboard real quick for a little bit of information. Wants to make sure he remembers exactly what he brought in and out. And perhaps he's wondering if he's got an answer to this 2020 that might be on the way here. Just a moment. Yep.
Never mind.
Looks like the answer
Call it.
is,
Ring the bell.
Yeah, looks like the answer is no, as there's a Recruiter of the Guard.
I'm guessing Julian John just took care of his standard match, and
that's what it's looking like. Yep. Julian John does win his match there over Jose Rios. So both Rioses are defeated here. And that means the team of King, Rosum, and John, lands, humans, and Mardu vehicles moving on.